Mm. Hey, everybody. I hope my face doesn't freeze in the screen this time, especially in an awkward manner. Um, so I'm just going to dive right into it in hopes of getting it done before my computer freezes. Pastor Derek here and leading the Friday noon devotional. And I just want to start before I forget by reminding everybody that this Sunday from 11:30 to 12:30, we're doing drive-through prayer at the church where you could pull up. We'll have lanes set up. We'll have masks on as pastors. We'll be able to stand a little bit away from your car and just kind of rehumanize the church experience a little bit. If you have any needs at all or anything you just want to talk about or talk through, you just want to get out of the house and have some human interaction from a safe distance, please come up. We'll be there. Today I'm going to be talking about Psalm 63, and I don't have a whole lot to say about it, but it triggered a few thoughts in my mind as I was kind of just reading through and reflecting and meditating on the Psalms. Psalm 63, I just want to go ahead and read it, and then I'll talk a little bit about it. It's titled A Psalm by David when he was in the desert of Judea. It says, "O God, my God, I rise early to be with you. My soul thirsts for you. How often my flesh thirsts for you in a desolate, impassable, and waterless land. So in the holy place I appear before you to see your power and your glory, because your mercy is better than life. My lips shall praise you. Thus I will bless you in my life. I will lift up my hands in your name. May my soul be filled as if with marrow and fatness. May my mouth sing praise to you with lips filled with rejoicing. If I remembered you on my bed, I meditated on you at daybreak, for you are my helper, and in the shelter of your wings I will greatly rejoice. My soul follows close behind you. Your right hand takes hold of me, but they seek for my soul in vain. They shall go into the lowest parts of the earth. They shall be given over to the edge of the sword. Some translations say the night watch or keeping vigil at night. So really this idea of going to be with God and going to meet with him in prayer and in presence all different times throughout the day. And I was thinking about our situation, still being under quarantine, being stuck at home, and maybe some opportunities that are present to us that aren't normally present to us. And I don't know, your situation might be different. Maybe you're busier than you normally are, or your mental energy is just fried by the end of the day, or whatever it may be. But I was thinking about the time that we were given. One of my favorite quotes in the world is from Lord of the Rings, where Frodo says to Gandalf, I wish I hadn't been alive to see such times, and or something like that. And Gandalf says, so do all who live to see such times, but that's not for us to decide. All we have to do is to decide what to do with the time that's been given us. So how can we make the best of this forced monastic state that we live in? I love monasticism. It's just something I'm personally passionate about. And this feels a lot like that. We're kind of in our cell, in our monasteries of our homes. And this really could be a time of refreshing our souls in the presence of God in the morning and at night. And it made me think about Ephesians 5:16. 15 and 16, Paul says, "See then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as the wise, redeeming the time because the days are evil." So in the Psalm, David's talking about praying and going to God in the morning and in the night and throughout the night and preparing for the morning through the night. And here Paul's talking about the days that we live in. I mean, we're living in a time filled with disease. Disease is not necessarily good. It is an evil thing. So how do we redeem the time that we live in? So I was thinking about the idea of the home church. How all of our homes have had to turn into churches right now. As we stream worship services, we worship from home. Some of us may partake in communion from home. I don't know how you personally practice. Our times of prayer and altar ministry have to be from home. All these different things. So I just wanted to maybe throw out some suggestions and some thoughts of ways that we could redeem the time if we aren't already. One would be, praying the hours, setting some set times, 2, 3, or one time a day where your entire family comes together in a central location in your house, and you could pray together. You could pray the Lord's Prayer. You could pray freely. You could take turns. You could pray for one another. If you have olive oil, you can anoint one another. Um, it's a good opportunity to come together as a family. You could just read scripture together. You could take turns reading the Psalms during those prayer times. You could break it up where you have a reading from the gospel and a reading from the epistles and a time of prayer and silent reflection. And then, um, somebody can sing a psalm or sing a worship song. If you play a guitar, you could do that. So there's a lot of different ways that you could do it. If you live alone, still set an alarm 2-3 times a day. Find a spot in your house that's conducive to your spirit, and look out on creation through a window, or go out on your porch, or take a walk on your property and just listen for God in the birds, or in the patter of the rain, the blowing of the wind, whatever it may be, and just be with Him. And we all have to relinquish this time to God. All we can do is choose what to do, choose what we do with the time that's been given us. And so God is in control. Either we can work with that or we can't, and it's difficult sometimes. So we have to put the power back in His hands. We have to put those frustrations back in His hands. Just this morning, somebody was talking to me about that scripture about not being anxious for anything, but with prayer and supplication, et cetera, the peace that surpasses all understanding. So, our anxiety a lot of times comes from our fear of the future, what's going to happen next. And let's just be present with God in this very moment and just offer the time back to Him. So I hope that's helpful. It's helpful to me, so I imagine it's helpful to somebody. But we love you. We hope to see you soon. We hope to see you at Drive Through Prayer. And may the Lord